Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Career Retrospectives right here on the Super Review Show Network. I am joined by my two good friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Yo.
Glad to be here. Glad to be back. We're all set to go. So tonight's podcast is going to be on Falling in Reverse's Fashionably Late from 2013. We decided to make this a choice. It was our last pick on the previous wheel that we spin in order to pick new records and whatnot, and we pick new albums, and that's how we go from there. So tonight's show is going to be about that 2013 album. Did it turn 10 years old already or no?
Yes.
It did, actually.
In May, I think.
It says on the Wikipedia page, June 18th, 2013. So
that sounds about right.
Over 10 years old now. Hard to believe. But yeah, so we're going to get going on talking about Falling in Reverse from 2013, their album Fashionably Late. I'm just going to assume this right up front. I feel like I'm going first on this, even though this was Kyle's pick.
You know, I was going to volunteer this time, JT, but since you already said it, go ahead.
Hey, what a guy, JT. You know,
attaboy
taking stepping up to the plate.
I was going to say the words, Kyle, take it away, but I guess not.
You totally could have, but now you volunteered yourself. Go ahead.
I voluntold myself, if you will. So anyways, I digress. Falling in Reverse, I had some preconceived notion. I knew who they were like from years past. I knew the song "The Drug in Me Is You," which is not on this record, of course, but I didn't really listen to a full album by them until Kyle said, "Hey, let's do this album. Why not? Screw it." And I gotta tell you, my first initial impression was like, I'm probably not gonna like this. There are things that they're a band I'm not familiar with at all. And I got to tell you the truth, I was taken back by more of the songs than I thought I was going to be taken back by. I actually thought there was when I get to my track listing and my rating, I'll explain why in a second, but there were certain songs that I would go back to like that. I would go back to them in a heartbeat. Because some of them more than others, but as an album though, this is a very collectively strong album. And before we started our stream, I actually did a little research on their reviews for this album were wretched. They were terrible, apparently.
They sure were. They were so far ahead of the game that it was review bombed.
Yeah, so that just shows you how advanced Falling in Reverse is. I mean, I can't say that fully because I haven't listened to a lot of their other albums, but and I only know a couple of other songs, but I do know that I can honestly say this was a step in a very unique direction for them coming off of their first record, which like I said, I only know a couple of songs from that record and it worked out well. I am going to so that's my going into it. I was like, all right, I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go, but I listened to it over the weekend and I said, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Let's jump over to the track listing for a second. I just want to go off and list off some of my favorite tracks off this record too, but let's just talk about this record for a second. So we didn't do too much of the deluxe edition because there was just a lot of like extra tracks and a couple remix track in there too, which is something else. But the regular track listing goes as follows: Champion, Bad Girls Club, Rolling Stone, Fashionably Late title track, Alone, Born to Lead.
I wonder which is his favorite.
This is where you might be surprised. Champion, Bad Girls Club, Rolling Stone, Fashionably Late, Alone, Born to Lead, It's Over When It's Over, Game Over, Self-Destruct, Personality, Fuck the Rest. Yes, I said that on live on air. And we keep a show PG-13, just saying. Keep Holding On and Drifter. And I did listen to the rest of the tracks as well, just to get like another feeling. I know we're not really going to touch on the deluxe tracks too much, but I listened to them as well with Where Have You Been and Goddamn. And the Shy Kid remix, didn't really care for it, but whatever. This album starts off with Champion, and at first I was like, okay, this is not what I was kind of expecting. I was expecting. No, sorry, take that back. I was expecting something like what I got with Champion. It was like a lot of metal screaming, and I've come to terms and say I'm not really a fan of like metal with screaming like vocals like that. I'm just not a huge fan of that vocal style. That being said, it worked for me a little bit. Not as much as I thought it would, but it worked. I will say that. Then we got Bad Girls Club. Bad Girls Club is incredible. I was surprised. I was listening to him, like, and but towards the end of the song, I was like tapping my foot or whatever because I was driving, and I was tapping, and I was like tapping the wheel, the steering wheel. I was like, this is a really great song. I was really surprised by like, all right, Bad Girls Club. How about that? Something I kind of want to do, anyways. Besides the point, though.
I hope you're
Rolling.
tapping your foot on the pedal, not like
Oh, I was tapping my foot on the gas, baby. There you go.
Causing people to crash behind you because you're stepping on the brake. You know,
No, Mike, I was going on the gas. Believe me, buddy.
Okay, yeah, tap that gas. All right, proceed.
Tap that gas.
That's the hit off his next album, by the way. His rap album is called "Tap That Gas."
Exactly, coming soon. Waka Waka. Anyways, Rolling Stone. I didn't really care for it as much as I thought I would. Like the first couple songs on this record are a little bit shaky for me. It was kind of like a roller coaster. Like, oh, we're going down, then we're going up with Bear Goes. We're going down a little bit with Rolling Stone. Fashionably Late. Yes, it's the title track, and for those of you who listen to us for any period of time, I am a title track sucker. I love me a good title track.
Is that why you didn't like Bring Me the Horizon? Is it because they didn't have a single title track? Was that really it?
Controversy.
Drama amongst Career Retrospectives fan club. Oh no, not at all. I had that's a whole separate reason. You can go look that up on our podcast feed, whatever. But yeah, Fashionably. This it's not a bad song. And it's not a great song. It's kind of like a good plus in the middle type of song for me. I liked it, but because when I saw it, I was like, oh, there's a title track. And I was like, all right, it's a title track. I wasn't really taken back by it as much as I thought I was going to be. Let's put it that way. Alone has featured the kind of like metally vocals a little bit like that. There's like almost like what I'm going to call like a bear growl. I was a little like, okay, it just wasn't my thing a little bit. And then we get the Born to Lead, which was like, more not completely growling, but like it was different. And then the rest of the album, I was just cruising. I was cruising through this record like nonstop. Like tracks 7 through 12, I was flying through. I was having the time of my life listening to It's Over When It's Over, Game Over, Self Personality Destruct, F the Rest. I'm censoring myself. Keep holding on, Drifter, Where Have You Been? Goddamn. These are really solid songs, and I really am glad that Kyle introduced me to this. I can finally say that stuff on air. Let's put it that way. This is so the first half of this record has a couple of songs where I'm like, they're not like that. They kind of caught me off guard. Like, all right, it's gonna be like one of those like screaming death metal, like metalcore things. I'm not the biggest fan of, but then it gets to stuff like Bad Girls Club, and like It's Over When It's Over. And like self-personality, self-destruct personality. These are songs that are really like fit, even like Drifter to close out the record. It's close to the regular record before the deluxe tracks. I was really like thoroughly entertained by this record, and that's something I never thought I would ever say to a Falling in Reverse record at all.
Well, I'm surprised you like self-destruct personality, considering that's one of like the 3 heaviest on the album.
I for whatever reason that one worked for me. I don't know, but the other couple of ones I was like, but those were really good. That one really, I like that one quite a bit. I don't know what it was, but I was like, damn, this is good stuff. Broadening the horizon, if you will, the horizon. Not quite bringing.
Because you like that Amorphous album. It had some heavy vocals in it, but it definitely had, I tried to pick an album that had more sing to scream ratio, and it feels like Kyle kind of like did the same here. Like he found an album that has still enough screaming. It's like a 60-40, if not
a balance with it,
70 singing, 30 screaming, depending on how you break it apart. But I feel like that's a good introductory album for people who struggle with screaming. To kind of like use bands who blend it alongside cleans. Like sometimes bands will sing cleans over top of screams, which helps people deal with the harshness, but then when they just start screaming with nothing, it can be tough to digest for the average music listener. So
that was the hardest part for me. We just did Bring Me the Horizon, a career discography breakdown. That was a hard pill to swallow, for lack of a better word, for me. But I'll tell you right up front, if we listen to this first and then done Bring Me the Horizon, I feel like I would have actually had a better experience with Bring Me the Horizon more. I'm not sure. I mean, too late now, but hey, it's okay. But my standout tracks are Bad Girls Club. I'm adding that to my summer bop playlist for whatever reason. I'm doing it. Game Over, And the second half of this record is just so like it was different sounds too. It wasn't just like guitar, not just heavy drums. It was like a couple of piano songs in there, a couple of like keyboardist, organ-y type of songs in there. I was really taken back by how diverse the sound was initially. And the critic reviews, well, I'm sure I'll touch on that in a second, but the critic reviews were like, very, very mixed on this. Like they were like, this just sucks, basically. Like they just kind of bashed it and whatnot. They gave it a 38 out of 100 on Metacritic, which is not a good review. In fact, Kerrang! Magazine said the word, their review is not even a 1 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. It just said fuck knows. So that was pretty bad. But I disagree with the critics completely on this. I actually really like this quite a bit. So my overall rating, though, for this record, I'm sitting at about a 7.25 out of 10. I was taken back by a lot. I mean, the things that are holding it down are like the stuff like like the harder aggressive vocals for me, like that my mind can't really like process or listen to fully and digest yet. Keyword yet. Don't worry, guys, I'm working on it. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. 7.25 out of 10 for Falling in Reverse's Fashionably Late. That is where I sit for this record, and this is Kyle, good job. Proud of you. This is a good pick.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, so that's my initial impressions, track listing, favorite tracks, and overall rating as well. So let's jump over to Kyle. This was his pick. We should have started with him, but that's okay. Kyle, what can you tell us about Falling in Reverse's Fashionably Late?
No surprise, I picked this for a reason. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. Absolutely top 3. Literally ever since it came out. This is one that I've always disagreed with the critics on. And, fans at the time also hated it. Mainly because he brought that rap style in. That happened and everyone was like, oh, he's doing this. Because the lead single from this was Alone, which is heavily rap. And that came out with a video of him acting like a rapper instead of like a rocker. And that set people off. Because this was back, 2013 was still a weird time where there was this still weird, like almost kind of feud between rap fans and rock fans. A very one-sided feud in which rock and metal fans still, for whatever reason, just didn't want anything to do with rap. You mentioned the word rap and everyone piled on and was like, oh, that's terrible. It's crap. No one wants it. Ronnie was so far ahead of the game on this in the way he incorporated rap into the music, because he didn't do it in kind of that cornier 90s like new metal way. He did it in a way where he put so many different genres into this one record. Like, let's look at it. You have like Rolling Stone, I'll use for example. That's probably the most diverse song on here, where you go from metalcore to there's a dubstep breakdown in there, there's a guitar solo in there, there's a rap in there, there's screaming, there's clean vocals. It's such a well done song, so diverse. And that's so much of the album. I mean, in this whole album alone, you have, like I said, metalcore, you have like a Western song in there, you have a piano ballad, you have hip hop oriented songs, you have pop punk sounding songs, you have pop sounding songs. The amount of sounds that he did incredibly well on this is so impressive. It's been one of my favorites since it came out. This is a 10 out of 10 album for me personally. So I mean, that's where I stand on it. I can't say enough good things about it. This is my favorite lineup of the band altogether as well. I think this is the era of the band that I felt like had the most chemistry as a group, rather than just kind of feeling like it's Ronnie Radke, even though it was always kind of that. He always wrote pretty much everything for the band. It was always pretty much just him. But this like iteration of the band is what mostly felt like an actual band in and of itself, where you had Ronnie, Jackie Vincent's guitar playing on this, as always on the first 3 records that he was on. Absolutely kills it with like those almost like neoclassical guitar shred solos on there. He's sick. He's always been one of my favorites. They had Derek Jones on this too, Ryan Seaman on drums. Just such a stacked lineup of incredible musicians. And yeah, I mean, top ones for me, Rolling Stone, number 1 for sure. Self-Destruct Personality, actually grew on me a lot over the years. That one used to be toward the bottom. That one really grew on me. Probably my, third top. Oh, it's tough, but honestly, fuck the rest. I've always loved that song. One of the things I love about this album too is that it had Ronnie kind of acknowledging that he's kind of a douche. Had him acknowledging that side of him and kind of working with it in a fun way. And that's the thing about this album that I love, is that it's such a fun record. Even the songs that tackle like more serious subject matter, they like self-destruct personality, he does it in a fun way where it still sounds upbeat. It's the perfect summer album. This album was the soundtrack to my 2013 summer. That's actually, yeah, it was when I graduated high school and it came out. So just a lot of nostalgia, a lot of memories with this album. So straight 10 out of 10 for me. Curious to see what Mike has to say on it. I'll quickly touch on the deluxe tracks. Excellent, except for the Rolling Stone remix. That was that's back when everyone was doing these weird dubstep remixes, and that one just didn't hit. But Where Have You Been and Goddamn, excellent tracks. After that, they did do like the reissue bonus tracks and stuff that were covers from various different releases that were put out. That Green Day cover of She's a Rebel, horrendous, worst thing Falling in Reverse has ever done. But in terms of the actual album itself, best era of the band in my opinion, and really laid the groundwork for where they would go from here. I think the reception to this album though put him off of doing the rap for a while. After this, he did have like a mixtape that he put out song by song for, just for free back in the day. Pretty solid songs. That was all rap, all hip hop. Had some other like artists from the scene featured on it as well. But yeah, so then after that, the next couple albums really didn't have much of that rap influence on it. And then when he started to incorporate that again, is when they started blowing up even more and getting bigger than they ever were, to the point where now they're one of the biggest, metalcore bands out there. They get played on the mainstream like Octane radio on XM. They get played everywhere. Every song that they put out, goes viral on YouTube for reactions and this and that. It's incredibly impressive. And I really feel like that if this album didn't happen, we wouldn't be where we are today with their with where they are musically. So huge impactful album for me. Mike, curious what you thought of it.
Did you say your rating?
Oh, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Literally every song on here is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
I can listen to this one forever. It's a top 3 albums of all time for me.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, so I'll just start off with my introduction to how I came to find out who Falling in Reverse were. I had no idea who this band was until I began to see reactors doing some of their songs. I think Kyle may have mentioned them or kind of sent me something maybe. But I just kind of through reactors and through kind of current releases. When I say current, I mean the last like 5 years or 4 years. I began to kind of, the song Monster, the song The Drug and Me As You Reimagined, which I actually just watched that again this weekend because I was showing my girlfriend, and that song is amazing. Absolutely.
So good.
Like, it is one of the most like talented efforts I've ever heard someone blend, kind of just like take songs lyrics from another song and then just kind of just fashion it to a classical song. It was really impressive. And just like the new Papa Roach cover, the fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's grown on me watching the video too. So that was like my introduction to the band, and I've kind of like come to really look forward to their next release, feeling like everything blends so well. So I kind of like looking back, I felt like that maybe that was like the kind of the direction that I would be seeing in this. Yeah, so my initial impressions of this album, this has to be the most cringiest album I have ever heard in my life. Oh God. it broke my meter that I could like handle, and it really kind of left
In a
me.
good way, right?
No, not in a good way. It was just okay. I feel like a lot of this is trying really hard, like, and I kind of see what you're saying about blending many different genres together, but in my opinion, it's not done very like well in this album. It jumps to different genres, but it feels just jarring. Like, hey, here's a dubstep part that like you didn't really want, but I'm gonna throw in your face anyway. And then the rap comes out of nowhere, whereas like the current stuff has it blends much better, like where like the rap is kind of you know, it just kind of feels like it fits better. This felt like really just, yeah. So like just kind of going through my list here. Champion actually started out pretty good. I don't really like his growls. I've actually come to
No,
decide that
his screams and growls on this record are not good.
it just sounds like he's like
He's
it
definitely
just
gotten
sounds like
better
someone,
over time.
definitely. It sounds like someone who doesn't know how to growl is growling and just hoping that it works. So that really kind of like it hit my ear, and it kind of didn't leave me feeling very great. But the song carries along. The first song, the rap break feels like it's a little abrupt, too jarring. Could have been a little more integrated throughout the song instead of like, here's the metal part, here's the rap part, here's the metal part. I feel like it needed more blending where it felt like it wasn't just someone piecing together music in like a program where it's like I've kind of put the pieces down. So 7 out of 10, not bad. Is one of the better songs of the album. It's actually, if I were to say, it's one of my standout tracks. Champion, start out. Then we go to, this has to be one of the most cringiest things I have heard in a long time.
But
Oh my
it's
god.
fun, Mike.
No,
Mike
fun
hates
is
fun.
fun is subjective. Like, I don't know, like the lyrics are so bubblegum pop, it makes me sick. And it's just not in a good way. Ollie oxen free. I literally,
That's
when
the
that
best part
part
of the
came on,
song.
when that part came on, I literally dry heaved because it just made me ill. Like how, and then the part where he starts to do a cheer, I was like, oh my god, like metalcore people are rolling in their graves and they're not even dead, but this might kill them. Gee whiz,
Mike, you're
this
sounding
was.
like a real gatekeeper right now.
I am a. I'll be honest with you. As I grew up as a gatekeeper, and I have no, I didn't say gatekeeper, but I said gatekeeper, uh and I feel like this is one of those one of those albums that will never breach my diversity like shield that I keep like music like this out of. This is one I stiff arm and I keep far away from me. Yeah, so this is a 3 out of 10, just horrible. Then we go on to Rolling Stone. Oh my god, just cringe to the 211. Gut you like an avocado. What?
Incredible.
Like terrible dubstep part. It was just horrible. It was
One of the best parts of the album. I know.
no, that is not what I'm saying. The chorus is super catchy, but it's not enough to save this song. And the vocal, okay, and like this is what I actually said as Tracy and I were listening to this. I said, if you take Ronnie Radke off this album and the and his comedy that he's trying to be funny, okay, and it kind of reminds me of someone who wants to be funny but isn't, but nobody wants to say, hey, stop doing that because you're not funny, because like they don't want to hurt his feelings. So throughout this whole album there are different comedic parts that just are so bad, and you just like pray that they stop, but they just keep going, and like it just keeps happening, and I'm just like, please make it stop, God. But to be honest
Mike,
with
we're
you,
the opposite. I'm like, keep it coming.
dude,
It's the
I am
perfect
such an.
summer album.
If there is an opposite album for Kyle and I, this is it. And I actually he does have good ability to make songs that change from one part to the other. Remember how I talked about in our previous music list about songs that repeat the same things over and over again? None of these songs have that, and that's why I say if you took Ronnie Radke off this track and put on a different vocalist who changed the lyrics and didn't have such a like cringy lyrics and cringy cut, I actually think this album could jump somewhere into the sevens, and if not like musically and just structurally, it is kind of, it's so poppy at times and so like la 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 la, like in the Fashionably Late as I'm transitioning, like it's just so cringy and poppy sounding at times that it falls on its face, but it has the capabilities to like really be a well-structured and well-written album with some catchiness to it that never repeats itself too much. And it really has that ability, but it never is able to execute that. And Ronnie in this album, I feel like he was learning the ropes, and he was going to take what he learned about music mixing and writing and producing, and he was going to take that to the next level. And I feel like this album is just where he's learning. And this is like he's trying to hit on every genre, but it feels like somebody trying to prove themselves that they're not just a one-trick pony. I get it, but it's too early for me. Yeah, like I said, Fashionably Late, just too poppy, and the part where he's like having sex with your friends at the end, I was like, what is happening? 3 out of 10. And then Alone was one of my most hated songs on the album. The shitting in your Pampers, God help us. Some of the most cringiest lyrics ever written. And Kyle, you are no longer ever to say the words, this album has cringy lyrics in it. After mentioning this, I am writing in, hold on, Kyle, July 10th. Okay. All right.
See, but there's a difference between cringy in a non-fun way and cringy in a on-purpose, stupid, fun way.
I don't believe that is true, sir, but I will take your.
Like you're gonna compare this to the one about like the doo-doo heads or whatever was on that Bearded Fish album, butt heads, whatever the hell it was.
I'd rather hear that than shitting in your Pampers, gutting people like avocados. Like,
that's
my God.
Awesome.
Oh God, no! I wanted to gut myself after hearing that. 2 out of 10, horrible. It has a catchy chorus. Once again, choruses in this thing are great, especially the next song, which is a standout track of mine. Not Born to Lead. Born to Lead is a step up, major step up. Interesting mix of pop, power metal, intro, acapella, metalcore. Which once again, harshes aren't great. Feels like it's trying to borrow from Dragon Force here. Actually, one of the solos is almost one of the solos is almost identical to Dragon Force. It actually has almost the same, like this part changes into this part and then it changes into that part. You can almost put them next to each other and they almost feel like it almost felt like someone wrote another solo to the same cadence, beat, whatever.
Well, if you like that stuff, this stuff, real quick, I would definitely recommend checking out Jackie Vincent's solo record. It's all like neoclassical guitar, very reminiscent of that. It's really good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like this the vibe going on here. My only problem is the breakdowns are all over the place and they're not like, they don't feel like good breakdowns. They feel like they're just doing gent to try and be gent, and then they jump. Like, this is why I was talking to you about somebody who's trying to touch on a lot of genres, but it doesn't feel like they're behind it, their soul is in it. They're just doing it as of like checking a list. Like, okay, here's my gent part, here's my power metal part, here's my pop punk part, here's my, it doesn't feel like it works. It just feels like it's shocking how heavy it is and changing kind of time signatures and stuff. So yeah, that kind of hurt this song a little bit. But it does touch a lot of different genres. And it was, a good attempt. So 7 out of 10 there. It's Over When It's Over. It's my favorite song on the album. 7.5 out of 10. Favorite chorus on the album at this point. Cliche lyrics. The rapping actually feels more organic here. Like, whereas like the other part where it was just like the rap part would just come out and then you just say like Gucci and white boy rapper and this and that. Like, it felt like the rapping wasn't like, hey, I'm here to like talk crap and I'm here to. It felt like the rapping had to do with the song, and it felt like it belonged there. And it kind of like just spliced better mix. So 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, this was the highest point of the album for me. Born to Lead, and It's Over When It's Over. And then we just literally nosedive into the ground with the worst song on this album.
Get out of here.
The worst song, 1 out of 10. This abomination, embarrassing, is so embarrassing. God, the cringe. Literally, I can't do it. I have
a guitar cover of this on YouTube from 10 years ago.
Oh God, Kyle, don't say those words. That is illegal to say those words. I will pretend like I never heard that. I literally heard this once and I could not get through this again because I was so embarrassed by like the noises in the background and his voice, how he's just like, my video games. It's like I'm listening to like Kids Bop, like like my God, how could an adult man put this out? God help you. 1 out of 10. Gee whiz. Then we go to Self-Destruct Personality. Opens up with a good riff. Harsh vocals aren't great, but the guitar is half decent. Rap part's okay. Harshes are kind of annoying me on this one. 5 out of 10. Yeah, so that was just like okay, F the rest. Vocals are annoying here. And it's just God, the lyrics attempt at humor is once again that lyrical humor. I'm not a humor album guy unless you've earned that right. And in my first attempt with this band, I'm not familiar with their humor on the album. So it's kind of a shock to me when I hear the attempt at humor, but it's just not my style of humor. So it's just kind of like you lose your audience when you're talking about some of the stuff that you are. So it's like breakdowns really pointless. I don't really like the electronic effects that they're doing in some of the. I feel like once again we're trying to touch on different genres and add a little electronic sounds. Just doesn't do it for me. So 4 out of 10 for that. Keep Holding On. Once again, it's a 4 out of 10. Just it started to sound like every other song at this point. And then Drifter, my God, it felt like a karaoke song. Somebody who was doing karaoke to a country song, but they sang in their own voice and their own style, and the vocals really began to stick out with how kind of they clashed with this type of song. And then just kind of going into the other songs, Where Have You Been just feels chaotic and trebly, a little too poppy sounding with like like the what you would call it, the keyboards. Maybe I think the keyboards are making this feel like Dragon Force meets like Kids Bop. It really felt like that at times. Breakdowns weren't great, and then just kind of ending with it was catchy but cringe comedy splice once again really took me out of it. 5 out of 10. So I initially gave this album a 4, but I had to deduct points just because of just the straight the only real peak was those 2 songs in the middle, and maybe Champion, where Champion, Born to Lead, and It's Over When It's Over were the only songs that could break a 7. But other than that, there's not much here. And then I just wanted to quickly read some of the terrible lyrics in this album. Oh God. All right, so Champion, gonna take that spot on the top of the list quick. Call it statutory rape. You want some beef? Better bring a fork, because I'm never gonna pass the torch. What? Gonna keep going with the flows, exposing you hoes to show you I'm more important. Oh God. Stop.
I'm struggling to see what's wrong with these lyrics, Mike.
I am not. This one, Alone. You're a bitch. You're a punk. Don't make me pull the pump. Cock it back, leave you slumped. Now that's what I call bad luck. My haters talking while washing dishes for a living. My God, I'd be kissing on your missus. What? Oh God. And I already spoke about the pooping in Pampers, and God, this is just a bad cringe lyric. And I can never go back to this album because it just has so much. Like, it reminds me of Attila. I mean, it literally is Attila like cringe rap with
you got a problem with Attila now too?
Oh God,
you have to fight about that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So 3.5 out of 10 is my break. I'm sorry, Kyle. This is too early. He starts to learn how to blend things better, I think, where we're at now. And this is just kind of the pop punkness on this album is I could see where you probably have a soft spot for it. And the songs come off originally like very catchy sounding, but then they just take all of that and ruin it with his voice. Oh God, when he just does this little thing like this in his voice drives me absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Like he squeaks his voice like when he sings, and it just oh like I would really love to hear this album redone by a different vocalist with different lyrics. I know that sounds like I'm changing the entire band,
So
but I would
Mike
love
wants just a totally different album.
I know that's what Tracy said. She goes, "So you want an entire new album?" I was like, "I know what that sounds like, but the songs are actually pretty catchy sounding. I just wish that he wasn't on the track talking about the things he's talking about." And I would really like to hear the album without that, which sounds like I'm asking for a whole nother bit. But what I'm trying to say is, uh, production wise, writing wise, ability to make music wise, the album isn't that bad. It actually it does get lost in its own desire to be every genre. It does lose its credibility by trying to be too much. Don't get me wrong there, but within that mess, there is beneath that mess, there is a structure, there is a hook, there is a chorus and a riff and a song that really shows potential on how to write music and how to make a song be interesting without losing your viewer. So like he piled a bunch of shit on top, dumped a bunch of like stuff, and like all that stuff is like clogging up the works, and it's just like it's too much. It's like, okay, take that off. You have the ability, and we're seeing it with the current version of Falling in Reverse, but just this was too soon for me. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if me and Mike have ever been further off.
Yeah, that's something we do best, Kyle. So that's good cop, bad cop.
Did you guys want to touch on the critic reviews at all, or just to talk about it for a sec, or no? Kyle, this is probably your thing.
No, I mean I think I touched on it before. They're not great.
Yeah, I think I think I fit well with them, but I get it. I get where people like this and like enjoyed this because, like you said, I like fun, but I also
It
like.
doesn't sound like it, Mike.
No, I do like fun.
Cut
but
you up like an avocado line is brilliant. Great.
I like my fun, but I also like my fun like less cringe and kind of just like Ronnie is. You can just tell he's cringe. Have you seen the current look of him? He's got his whole neck dyed and his arms dyed. He just looks like the kind of guy
that's because he had all the tattoos and he just decided to black them out.
Yeah, right. And I get it. Like he just looks ridiculous. And I applaud his shock qualities, but I just feel like I don't know if he knew who he was until the last 5 years. I think he really defined himself in the most current music, rather than previous work. But I'd be interested to see what
I'd be interested to see what you would think of their other albums. Because this is the only one that's like this. The one before this wasn't like that. It was more serious. The one after this had a couple goofy moments.
Yeah.
It was more in line with the first album. And then the one after that was like a weird spacey metalcore-ish type thing. More like space alternative rock.
Right. Yeah, no, I'll be interested to see what it sounds like too as well. So yeah.
Is that going to do it for us, guys?
That's it. That's what we're going to do.
And the best album.
Kyle, you should be a stand-up comedian with a kind of line right there. You really would kill your crowd. And by kill, I mean give him a heart attack.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us with Falling in Reverse's Fashionably Late. Obviously, very vast across the board ratings here. I'm very much in the middle. Mike is really low, and Kyle, this is one of his favorite albums of all time. So let's pretty much put it there. We are gonna spin the wheel tonight. And we're going to let you guys know what our next album is. We just refilled the wheel full of albums that we're ready to go. Kyle, I think it's all set for you to share if you're ready to go. So
yep, well, I'm getting this pulled up. Mike, do you want to explain how we put the albums on this time?
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so what we were doing is we were going to choose 2 albums apiece from the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time, the 2013 edition of that. And then as a bonus of our own pick, we get to pick an album that we all love. And what we tried to do is we tried to pick 2 albums that we all haven't heard of. As you kind of heard throughout the time that we've been doing these reviews, if you've kind of been following along, most of the albums, one of us has had the upper hand with knowing the album and having a very strong opinion if it's good or bad. None of us are going to have those opinions on these albums, although we do favor an artist. It may not be the album that we really want to hear, so it's going to be a lot less of having the upper hand of knowing the album. And then the bonus album of our own pick will be everything we know and come to love, kind of like what we've been doing. So it'll be a little bit of everything, on the unknown and the known, so yeah.
All right, let's spin the wheel.
Let's go.
Nobody's where it stops. Nobody knows.
Wheel of Fortune. Just kidding.
Of Fortune, and it.
Oh,
Did
wow.
it go backwards?
It is. It stopped literally like
Woo!
straight up and down. But Mike, here's your pick is up first.
This is my pick. David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust. This is a classic. This is a classic, and I've always wanted to listen to this album. I've never had a chance to listen to it, and I feel like this whole thing is a nice way of really rising an album back to the surface here that you've been kicking down the road and having a chance to fully just kind of get in touch with. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, so our next album for next week is going to be David Bowie's 1972 album. I think is when it came out. It was Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders of Mars. I actually have this LP on vinyl. I have never listened to it all the way through, though. I got it like recently, though, from my vinyl collection, but I have not listened to it all the way through. So I might even listen to it on vinyl before we do our stream. Just saying. Very excited to do that. But so next week is David Bowie. We spun the wheel. It's gonna be David Bowie's and Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders of Mars. I've heard a couple of singles, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. But that's gonna do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. I want to thank the 2 gentlemen, as always, Kyle and Mike, for doing this with me. Of course, this is a great pick by Kyle. Glad you picked it, bud. And is Q&A podcast done for the season, right?
Yep, it should be coming back by the end of this month or sometime in August.
Awesome. Well, you heard it your first Q&A podcast. This guy down here does a great job.
Woo!
Phenomenal work, my dear friend.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us. So for all of us here at Retrospectives, stay safe, take care, and